Sup, childrens? Old man shouting at clouds. Topic of today's conversation is embracing the suck. This is as much for my benefit as it is for yours today, to be honest with you, because it's a good reminder for all of us. Sometimes you just have to embrace the suck. What does that mean? Well, some things in life are just inherently not all that fun, but it doesn't mean they aren't important. And it doesn't mean that just because it's not enjoyable, you don't have to do it anyway. So finding a way to embrace things that are unpleasant or uncomfortable, man, if you can figure out how to do that, like enjoying the good things is easy. If you can figure out a way to find some sense of fulfillment or enjoyment in things that suck, man, that is a powerful skill to have. So where are some times where you could do this, and how do you do it? Well, for you guys right now, hate to say it, I know I'm going to sound like an old man shouting at clouds. I get that it sounds like something every adult in your life would say to you. Doesn't make it wrong, but being a kid's pretty easy. Like, there are parts of it that are hard, for sure. I mean, I remember my childhood. There are awkward phases you go through. That stuff is definitely not easy. And in fact, I will say, if you could pay me to go back to being in high school or middle school, I probably wouldn't do it. But still, like, it's relatively easy compared to a lot of things in adulthood. Okay? You do have way fewer responsibilities. No one is counting on you for anything. So if you make mistakes, it's not as big of a deal. And frankly, the consequences for the mistakes you're able to make at this age just aren't all that severe, right? Like, you don't have a driver's license, you don't have a job, you don't have kids who are depending on you. So when you screw up, it's like, okay. What's the worst kind of trouble you can get in from the types of mistakes you can have? Now, those consequences ratchet up the older and older you get, and the more and more freedoms and responsibilities you get. So here's a great example of this. Like, it's pretty hard to kill somebody in a car when you don't have a driver's license. Once you get a driver's license, it's much, much easier. So you got a little freedom, but you also got a whole lot of responsibility. You have to be careful with that vehicle. You have to be careful with that power you've acquired. So, but like, I totally just went on a tangent there. So anyway, bringing it back to the point of the video, embracing the suck. There's not a whole lot of suck for you guys to embrace right now, but that is from the perspective of an adult who has gone through the phase of life you're in and has gone through other phases of life much further beyond where you guys are. Okay? In your world, the problems you are dealing with are the biggest problems you've ever dealt with, so they seem like big problems. And that's natural. That's how I was at your age. It's how your mom was at your age. It's how your aunts and uncles were at your age. Every adult has been where you've been at some point, and we complained about stupid stuff then, just like you're complaining about stupid stuff now. At least stupid from the perspective of adults. From the perspective of other kids, not stupid. It's stuff they complain about too. But they are, I hope you can wrap your heads around the perspective that in the perspective of all the problems a person could possibly have, the problems you guys have are relatively easy to address. However, again, that's with the skill set and perspective of an adult. Now, what you can do, and what the point of this video is finding ways to embrace things that are challenging, okay? There's something to take away from every challenging moment. And sometimes the reality is the thing to take away from it is just that you can get through it. That's it. Sometimes there is no like real silver lining to a problem. I'll give you a great example. When one of my best friends died unexpectedly, there was no silver lining to that cloud. Okay, that was just bad. That was just painful for everybody involved. There wasn't really a takeaway. It stung and it still stings. However, one thing you can embrace from that is you've just learned that you can survive something painful. Okay, while it's hard to continue on sometimes, and it's you know you don't feel better for having gone through it, the reality is you are a little tougher now. It does take a little bit more to ruin your day after that. Those are ways to embrace the suck. Another thing is, and you guys, like, most people in my life honestly give me crap about this, but my fitness regimen. Do you think that every single day I wake up, I want to go for an 8-mile run? No. Do you think every single day I do strength training, there's nothing I'd rather be doing than throwing some kettlebells around? No. Today is a perfect example of that. I'm exhausted. I'm very tired. I got a very little sleep a night this week, and it's just been tough for me to catch up to that, especially because I'm doing some pretty demanding workouts. So my body needs a lot of time to recover, and I didn't get all that time. There's nothing I'd rather do this afternoon more than take a nap. But am I going to do that? No. I'm going to throw those kettlebells around because I committed to it and because I know that habits are really hard to build and they're easy to break. So I've put a lot of time and energy and effort and commitment into being physically fit. And so I owe it to myself to not break that. Okay? I owe it to you guys too, actually. A lot of people don't realize that one of the biggest motivating factors in how much I work out is because I want to be in good shape to enjoy things with you guys. Okay? As you get older and you're more interested in sports and running around and being physically active, I want to be able to do that with you. I don't want to be out of breath 4 minutes into a soccer game in the backyard. I want to be able to run alongside you. And I want to be physically fit and capable for as much of my life as I possibly can be. I don't want to be bedridden. I don't want to be so out of shape that, I can't go up and down my stairs. That stuff matters to me. And so I embrace the suck. Like, even though the last thing I want to do right now is go throw some kettlebells around, I'm going to do it. And and one thing that I've noticed is the more I commit to that kind of thing, even in the moment when I don't feel like doing it, I am able to take some serious pride away from that. I'm like, I didn't want to do this. It was the last thing I wanted to do, and here I am going full send on it. That gives me a sense of pride. And the pride that I get from that is worth the short-term sacrifice of having to do the work I didn't feel like doing in the moment. And that's true of a lot of things. You can apply that to a job, like even when things aren't going well, because listen, your career is not going to be a straight line from less success to more success. Okay? It's not perfect. It's more of a curve, okay? There are undulations in there. There are going to be 2 steps forward and a step back in your career. The setbacks are what make the progress worth it. Say that one again. The setbacks are actually what makes the progress worth it. If all you ever did was get better, 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 better in a straight line, you wouldn't appreciate getting better. That would just be like what happens. That's not the way most things work, okay? Even like if you take it back to the world of athletics, it is not a straight line from being bad at something to being great at something. There are curves and turns and switchbacks along the way. Sometimes you go backwards before you go forwards. I had an entire year of swimming in high school where the year before that, I made state. Okay. I had my best time ever. Okay, let's take my sophomore year of high school. I made it to state. And I swam the best time I had ever swam in the 500 freestyle. at the state meet that year. Okay. My junior year, I didn't reach that time that I had swam at state my sophomore year, even once. Not even one time during my junior year. And I didn't make it to state my junior year. My senior year, I made it to state again. And my state meet of my senior year, I swam the fastest time I've ever swam 500 yards of freestyle in my entire life. So I walked off at the top. For me. I did not win state, spoiler alert. But I swam the fastest time I have ever in my entire life to this day, swam 500 yards of freestyle. So but I had to go backwards before I could go forwards again. Now, that's not how it works for everybody, but that's how it worked for me. And if I had just given up after my junior year, I would never have known what that accomplishment felt like. So sometimes you have to experience those lows for the highs to feel as high as they can, okay? Sometimes you need to fail at achieving your goal so that when you finally do achieve it, it feels that much better. It's that much more vindicating, okay? Another example of this is I have failed so many times at my goal of qualifying for the Boston Marathon. But when I run to my potential, it feels so good. It's what keeps me coming back, And that's a really important thing to embrace. It's a really important concept to embrace because there are going to be tough times no matter what you decide to pursue in your life, okay? Whether it's education, whether it's a specific profession, relationships, everything in your life, there are going to be bumps in the road. There's no avoiding that. But if you get at least comfortable, you don't always have to enjoy it, but if you find a way to be comfortable understanding that those moments are going to happen and they're a necessary part of the process, it allows you to waste less time agonizing over the difficult times. At some point, you just realize the only way out is through, okay? I don't need to sit here and make the problem even worse by sweating it in my head and agonizing over it and losing sleep over it. The only way out is through. I just got to put my head down and get through it and deal with this time and know that whatever is on the other side of this, I will figure it out because I've figured out all these other problems before. Those ones didn't kill me. This one isn't going to kill me either. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, and eventually I'm going to get out of this tunnel. And then when I'm on the other side of this thing, I'll be able to appreciate the good times so much more because I had to go through that bad time. So, at any rate, I know that this is tough advice. And again, as I so often say in these videos, this is stuff adults also struggle with. But if you can find a way to master it, or even if you can just get better at it, you don't have to be perfect at it. Just find ways of getting a little bit better at it all the time. And it's going to pay massive dividends in your life, I promise you. When I am doing a poor job of embracing the suck, my life is worse for it. When I'm doing a great job of embracing the suck, I kind of feel untouchable. Now, obviously, there are some problems in life you're going to deal with that would take anybody down a peg, okay? There are problems you're going to deal with in life that are just miserable, no matter what, no matter how good of an attitude you have. But having the best possible attitude while you approach those times is going to be better than the alternative. That's the only promise I can make you. So I hope you take this seriously. I hope you really internalize the message and work on it. That's the important thing. Just work on it. Nobody expects you to be able to embrace the suck 100% of the time. Well, we all have our bad moments. You guys have heard me complain about plenty of things. You'll hear me complain about plenty more. The only thing we can do is just work on doing less of that, okay? Work on finding ways to embrace it. Remind yourself when you're in the middle of tough times. There are people who have gone through a lot worse. They could do it. So can I. So I hope it helps you. I love you very much. We'll talk to you next time.